What's going on, everybody? Happy New Year. We are in January. Guys, I'm very excited for this year, especially when it comes to movies. We could be honest, right? Where 2025, we really didn't get the best array of movies, right, to come out. There was a lot of lackluster movies, a lot of movies that disappointed. I'm not saying that there weren't any good ones. There were some that I really enjoyed. I think the best movie of the year was probably Sinners. Let's just be real. I've enjoyed Weapons a lot. I enjoyed Superman. I did enjoy Fantastic Four. Predators, Badlands. Like there were some good movies. But it's probably one of the weakest years of movies just in general. But 2026, we got a lot of movies in store, a lot of movies that have a lot of promise. And so I today wanted to share my top 10 most anticipated movies for 2026. I am going to throw in some honorable mentions in there, of course, because there is a lot of good movies coming out this year. So before I get started, go ahead and like this video and subscribe to the channel for more content. But let's get started. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and start out with just a couple honorable mentions. Going in, like I said, there is a lot of promise this year when it comes to films. A lot of stuff, sequels. We have universes expanding. We're getting a lot of good things this year, and I'm very excited about it. So I wanted to go ahead and start out. I got four honorable mentions. There's just too many, so I was like four, and then I'm of course going to give you my top 10. So starting with the honorable mentions in really no particular order at all. One I'm excited about is Fokker in Law. So if anybody's familiar, this is of course the Ben Stiller's Meet the Fokker or Meet the Parents universe in a way. We had Meet the Parents come out initially, and then you had Meet the Fokkers, which is Ben Stiller's family, and then you had Little Fokkers when they had children, and then now this is Fokker in Law, which it's going to be pretty much about their daughter getting married. This movie it just gets me excited, man, because I enjoyed all three films. All three films are very hilarious. Meet the Fokkers just had so many iconic moments in it. That's the second one. These movies are just great. These movies are great. And so this one, of course, Ben Stiller, Robert De Niro return, but we also get Ariana Grande joining the cast. I'm curious to see what they're going to do. This is a movie that they're funny, not too serious in a ways, but it's that's one I'm excited about. Next one. And I'm not, to be honest, I'm not a fan of biopics. I don't like, these movies when they make them about this person or that person because they're so fluffed. They're so fluffed. We're all flawed as human beings and so I understand they gotta try to romanticize some things or change things up for the crafting of a story, right? So, some of them are good, some of them are just for the most part. But I think that they're really meant for actors to showcase, their acting prowess, right? I can play this person, this is a person that we all watch, I can play them. So I think that's more of it. Well, the one that we're going to get in 2026 is about, let's just be honest, it could be the greatest musician to have ever existed, and Michael Jackson, called Michael. It's actually played by Michael's nephew, who looks just like him. Holy moly! But I mean, this is a movie it's almost like doing Elvis. But here's the thing: Michael Jackson's a little bit more popular than Elvis, in my opinion. So this is something I'm excited about. I think they got to get it right. It's I believe it's directed, if I'm not mistaken. It's actually being directed by Anton Fuqua, so usually his movies are pretty good and entertaining. So I'm excited for that one. Next one, This one I might accept some because it's not going to be in my top 10. But, however, after 20 years, we are getting a second one to it, and that is, of course, The Devil Wears Prada. So we will be getting The Devil Wears Prada 2. The first one came out in 2006, and the next one comes out in 2026. So exactly 20 years later, you got Meryl Streep, Anne Hathaway. I'm curious if Emily Blunt's going to be in it as well. But just from just that alone and how popular that movie was and what it meant at the time, and it was, let's just be real, it's a good movie. So them coming out with a number two after all these years, man, definitely, it's definitely going to be watched, right? I wouldn't be surprised. I'm going to make a little bold prediction here. I wouldn't be surprised if that is one of the highest grossing movies of the year, for sure. Or at least in the top five. Um, something that came across, what was it, yesterday or so, was saying that was the most watched trailer in 2025. So, if that doesn't get people excited, I don't know what is. But that's a huge indicator, that movie's people are gonna spend their money to go see it. Next one that before we get to the top 10 here, Resident Evil. Now we've had Resident Evil tried many times. It's one of the most iconic video games of all times, and I remember we got the first Resident Evil movie came out in like 2002, and we had a sequel in like 2004. And to be frank, I enjoyed those movies, and then of course they got a lot of, they went a little far fetched there. However, the thing that gets me most excited about this movie is it's being directed by Zach Krieger. Now, Zach Krieger, if anybody's unfamiliar with Zach Krieger, this is the gentleman who just directed Weapons, wrote and directed Weapons, which I think probably was like the second best film. Some people's taste, it probably was the best film of the year. It was original. It was really good. It was really good. So that right there alone gets me excited for what he's going to do with Resident Evil. If he can just do a fraction of what he did with Weapons, I'm really pumped for what he does with Resident Evil, and I think he's going to crush it. So that's another movie I am very excited about. So, honorable mentions: Resident Evil, Fokker in Law, Devil Wears Prada, and Michael. All right, and some might even consider those to be their top 10 most anticipated films for this year. But those are just a couple honorable mentions because, like I said, this is my top 10. I'm not going to go off of what's popular, even though some of the most popular movies or projected movies that come out might be on this list. There's going to definitely be some gimmies, but starting with my top 10. Number 10, I have is Clayface. Clayface is produced by Mike Flanagan, written by Mike Flanagan. This is one of the next projects in the DC universe by James Gunn. James Gunn is not directing this. This is supposed to be a horror film. And just from the set photos alone, this movie looks very good. I'm really excited for what they're going to do here with Clayface. Clayface is a unique character in the comic books. I mean, he's a shapeshifter. He's a big blob of clay who can shapeshift into anybody, really. And so it's really intriguing. We've never seen it done in live action before at all. So I'm really excited. And the fact that Mike Flanagan, who I think is one of the best writers out there, especially when it comes to horror films, I think that this movie is going to be really good, and it's going to be a huge surprise for a lot of people how good it actually is. So 10 is Clayface. Number 9. This list was tough, guys. This list was tough. Number 9. Mortal Kombat 2. Come on. Mortal Kombat actually was pushed back. I believe it was supposed to come out last year. But we are getting a second to the Mortal Kombat, and just from the trailers alone, this looks much better than the first one, which I really enjoyed the first one. I love what they did with Mortal Kombat. I didn't like the fact that they added that character, the UFC fighter guy. Even though I like Louis Tan, I think he would have been great at maybe in another part. But Cole Young was the character's name. I really didn't like his character, this to be honest. But the movie itself and the way they crafted it, I actually really enjoyed it. And I'm more excited for what they're going to do based on the trailers in number two. And then plus, we get Carl Urban joining the cast as Johnny Cage. So I am astounded for that. Number 8 is going to be, and this one was tough for me because I didn't enjoy the last time we saw these characters. I really didn't enjoy a lot of what was brought to us and their story arc, and that was the Mandalorian and Grogu. So it's what they had decided to do. Pretty much the Mandalorian, I believe the series has ended, right? We got 3 seasons, the Mandalorian. So now we're going to be getting a movie, which is takes place afterwards. I'm excited for it. Especially with Star Wars. Star Wars has been kind of lackluster under the leadership of Kathleen Kennedy. Let's just be real. And there's been a few good projects. Now, don't get me wrong. I did like Rogue One. I liked Andor. I did like The Mandalorian, right? Ahsoka, but for the most part, other projects were right? And then what was that garbage that was given to us? The Acolyte. Ugh. But Mandalorian and Grogu, we haven't got a Star Wars project in a while. So I believe, and this one's going to be directed by Jon Favreau, who of course is the writer of the original series, who he pretty much wrote those. I think the first 2 seasons, the first season he was on it, and so I'm really excited for this one. I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be crafted well. And maybe Pedro Pascal actually is in this one, not like he was just a voice in season 3. So you got Mandalorian and Grogu at number 8. Number 7. This is another one. This was a very popular trailer that came out this past year. This is a movie that's going to be based off of a popular book. I've never read it, but apparently the people do know this book. But this is Project Hail Mary with Ryan Gosling. The trailer shows, it's a guy, you need him, he's in space, and he comes across this creature. It looks eerily similar to the movie that Netflix did a few years back called Spaceman with Adam Sandler, where he ends up meeting this creature up in space and this and that, and it's just they form a strong bond relationship. So but this looks just watch the trailer. This movie looks very good. And I wouldn't doubt if it's probably one of the best pictures of the year when it all said and done. I wouldn't doubt if Ryan Gosling probably even gets nominated for an award for this. I mean, this movie does look pretty incredible. But like I said, this is my top 7. Okay, my top 7. I'm being biased. So, Project Hail Mary, I got it number 7. That looks really good. Number 6, Supergirl. I did think it was very ballsy from James Gunn and Peter Safran to, we're going to roll out a new universe. Okay, cool. We're going to do a Superman. That's fine. Superman's a bad MO, man. And, but for their second project, for them to decide to do Supergirl, I thought that was pretty ballsy. I thought that was very, very ballsy. Usually you would probably go with a Batman or a Wonder Woman as your second, main character movie. No, they decided to do a Supergirl. So it's really interesting to see how this goes. Now, from the trailer that we got, it does look very good. I think it's going to be entertaining. I think it's going to be just an adventure. And it looks funny. It's giving me very much the Guardians of the Galaxy vibe. And I think the Guardians is some of the best things that Marvel has done. So Supergirl looks really good. I'm curious to how it builds into the ever expanding DC universe. But Supergirl has got to hit. That's my opinion. Supergirl has got to hit. Because then people are going to argue whether or not he should have went with Batman. He should have went with, But from the trailer, Millie Alcott looks the part. Is this movie looks like it's gonna be good. So I'm optimistic about it. Number five, another superhero comic book movie. This is Spider-Man Brand New Day. Spider-Man Brand New Day is a continuation to, of course, No Way Home, which was just an extremely iconic film. Bringing back Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man, and then you also got Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man coming back as well. This movie was just straight up fanfare to the fullest, and it was good. And it was good. But at the end of the movie, we all know Peter Parker pretty much got a reset, which I'm very excited about because I want I want to see Tom Holland in a traditional Spider-Man setting, right? Where he's alone. He's hiding his identity from everybody. Not everybody knows who he is. He doesn't really have a lot of friends. Let's just be honest. And we haven't got introduced to like Norman Osborn. We haven't got introduced to Harry Osborn yet. So there's a lot that from Tom Holland, we got 3 movies so far, and there's a lot of Spider-Man material that they have yet to explore. I think Tom Holland is one of the best Spider-Mans that we have gotten. He's the perfect Spider-Man right now, and I want to see him interact with some of these characters, see some more traditional villains in the Spider-Man. So I'm really pumped up for what they're doing, and then the fact that it's going to be done by Destin, what the guy that did Shang-Chi. I'm excited for it. He's bringing back practical effects, not going CGI. I mean, this is going to be dope, man. This is going to be a very good film. So that's my number 5, Spider-Man Brand New Day. Number 4, this one's going to be Disclosure Day. This is Steven Spielberg's next film. It's a UFO type of project. It has Emily Blunt, Josh O'Connor, the guy that was just recently in Wake Up, Dead Man, the newest Knives Out movie. I thought he was great in that. So this movie has really got me excited from what we've seen from the trailer. This looks really cool, man. This is like, Encounters of the Third Kind type of ordeal, Close Encounters. This movie looks really, really nuts. And the fact that Steven Spielberg, who hasn't done anything recently in a while, it seems like he's really been focused on this. I'm expecting this to be another top film of the year. And I wouldn't doubt if it's one of those movies that gets picked in the end. Number 3. This is one might be a little controversial to some folks, it not being my top, but I am going to have to put it number 3 on my list for what I'm excited for in 2026. This one's going to be Avengers Doomsday. This is probably going to be one of the biggest, if this is going to be the biggest comic book film to have ever be done. The hype around it, the trailer leaks, which I'm going to talk about later. So come back to the channel. We'll talk about, we actually got the official trailer release for the third trailer. And then there's rumors of the leaked 4th. So come back and listen to me. I'm going to definitely break that news and talk about that. But what we got right now is we got Avengers Doomsday. And this is, I wouldn't be surprised if this movie's 4 hours long from all the people that are going to be playing it, all the intertwining storylines. I'm not sure how they're going to do it all, man, but we know that Steve Rogers is coming back. We know that we're getting the X-Men. We know that we're getting Thor. This movie looks like we got Iron Man potentially coming back in the form of Doctor Doom. I don't know what the hell is going on. I don't know what the hell is going on with this film. But I tell you what, I'm excited about it. And with the lackluster movies that we've gotten from Marvel, over the last 8 years now, it's time for us to get something good. Now, I'm not going to say that we've gotten everything was bad. I did enjoy Thunderbolts. I enjoyed Fantastic Four. These movies aren't awful movies, but they have really kind of lost what they were trying to do compared to the first Avengers trilogy. And leading up to Endgame, everything was very, very orchestrated well. Everything was definitely put together. perfectly. But over the last few years, everything's been just twisted, and they really had no plan of what they were going. The whole thing with Jonathan Majors, and I think that was a an out for them to kind of reset everything, go with Doctor Doom. That's my opinion. I think that Jonathan Majors was a yeah, he had his own shit going on, but they used that as an out to kind of reset and redirect things. So, you know, I'll leave that there. But Avengers Doomsday, I'm very excited about it. We're getting all these returning characters. We're getting every character. We're getting the X-Men coming back. I mean, this is going to be nuts. And the Russo brothers are coming back, who, let's just be honest, I don't think they've had a bad comic book movie that they've directed. So, Avengers Doomsday is going to be a spectacle. That's the perfect word for it. It's going to be a spectacle. Now, my number two is, of course, the movie that will be coming out on the same day as Avengers. And I do feel bad for this movie because Avengers is going to get all the attention. However, my number two is Dune Part 3. Man, I love these Dune movies. The first one just threw me for a whirlwind, man. I remember watching the old one from the 80s with my father growing up, and oh man, he used to hype that movie up. We got Sting and all this. Like, movie was, at the time, I'm sure it was the bomb. But, me watching it, I'm like, oh man, this is rough. However, when they gave us Dune, you have Timothy Chalamet, who I didn't know about Timothy Chalamet at the time before I watched the first Dune. Um, but holy moly, Dune was fantastic. Dune is, man, over the last 10 years, I would say, Dune 1 and 2 are probably in my top 10 movies. Like, and they probably have been the top 5. I love these. These movies are so perfectly crafted. Like, I mean, holy moly, these movies. And the fact, Dune 1 was good. I thought Dune 2 even upped it. Dune 2 might have been even better. I still like Dune 1 a little bit better, but Dune 2 was freaking awesome. And then now we're getting Dune 3. Now, Dune 3 is going to be Dune Messiah, which is the book, Dune Messiah. It's never been done on on the screen before, I don't think. So it's really interesting. Timothy Chalamet is going to have to play. He's got to play up his age, right? I think he's like 30. He's got to play much older than 30 because he's now has children. I mean, I'm very interested to see how it's put together. But Dune 2, Dune 3, Part 3 is number 2 and my most excited films. Now, number 1 for most excited films of 2026 definitely has to be Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. Now, The Odyssey is one of my all-time favorite stories. This is a story by Homer. You got the Iliad and the Odyssey. For anybody who just, without maybe going to read it, if you want just an example of what the Iliad was, you go watch the movie Troy. Troy was pretty much what the Iliad was, the Battle of Troy, everything leading up to it. But then the Odyssey is the second part, which is Odysseus. This is a character from the Iliad. This is about his journey home. And, it introduces his family, his wife, his child. And this man, I mean, he was gone for like 20 years trying to first fought in the war for 10 years, and then now he's trying to get home for another 10 years. The story is absolutely insane. They've done it before. Like, I think they did like a TV movie a while back that was about 3 hours longer. It was like a mini series, something like that. But that's been really the only thing that we've gotten when it comes to the Odyssey in this story, which is one of the best. And then the fact that Christopher Nolan is going to tackle it, oh man, it's just got me more excited. You got Matt Damon in the main character, which kind of threw me for a whirlwind. I was like, okay, Matt Damon in the movie, but Matt Damon playing Odysseus? Really interesting. You got Tom Holland playing his son. You have Anne Hathaway playing his wife. I even saw, we're gonna have so many different people. Robert Pattinson's in this movie. I mean, the list goes on and on. John Berthenol's in. I mean, this movie is going to be. It's probably going to be the best film of the year. Let's just be honest. It's probably going to win Best Picture. best screenplay. This movie looks absolutely epic, and I can't imagine what Christopher Nolan is going to do with this story. The Cyclops, the different gods. I mean, this is, man, it's got me pumped. It has got me pumped, and I'm just excited. Look, I'm cheesing just thinking about it, man. But yeah, the Odyssey is going to be number one on the list. Another Christopher Nolan epic. Uh, Oppenheimer was a much more slower film of his. Very good, by the way. But the Odyssey, this looks absolutely bananas. But guys, that is my top 10 most anticipated films for 2026. I have high expectations for this year with films. I believe that this is a year for films to kind of get people back into movie theaters, man. Seriously. Um, movie theaters, guys, it's just a nice pastime, especially if the movie is done well. If the movie's done well and it's just like reading a book. When you read a book, you got to learn about the author. So when you watch a movie, hey, you're like, let me go. What else has this guy done? Right? Oh, this is Steven Spielberg. Holy smoly! I mean, there are some really good films. You got good directors. You get, like I said, we got Christopher Nolan, Steven Spielberg, Mike Flanagan, the Russo brothers. I mean, we got so many good John Favreau's directing a film. I mean, just these movies. Zach Krieger's got another one. I mean, this is going to be a great year for films, and it needs it, man, because 2025 was very, like I said, there's some promising films and there's some good films, but there was a lot of films that disappointed, But 2026 got me excited. But let me know what you guys think of my list down below. And of course, I like to interact, man. I want to hear your guys' opinions. I want to hear, give me your top 10. What are your top 10 most anticipated films? Give me your top 5 even. But drop some comments below, guys. But don't forget to subscribe to the channel. But until next time, peace out.